Hey everybody, Dr. Tim Turlop here. Welcome to 3 Minutes to Vitality. Wanted to touch base again about a critical element that is important to all of us, and we've talked about it a few times, and that's vitamin D. And the reason I wanted to touch base with that today is because there's a new study. There's a pre-published paper that's going to be put into a journal called The Lancet. It's one of the more prestigious medical journals around, and the paper actually comes out sometimes pre-publication where you can actually see it. It's amazingly exciting news about vitamin D, and vitamin D is so helpful in so many levels. I just wanted to touch base on this one again. So we know from a previous study prior to this one, actually 2 or 3 large ones that have been done, one out of a very large medical university in Boston, that looked at a few 100,000 people and looked at what's called the vitamin D status. Looked at the level of vitamin D that they had, whether it was actually sufficient or not. And that, for the sake of that paper, they were looking at people who were over 30 nanograms per deciliter, just remember the number 30, or under. And what was actually found was that people who were actually over 30 nanograms, and that actually is not even the threshold that we work with here at the office. We prefer people to be at 45 to 60. But they were looking at 30 and actually found that there was a 51% reduction in the risk of COVID infection. So that's what we're going to talk about with COVID. So because it's so relevant to the world today and what we listen to, unfortunately, many times. So they actually showed this 51% reduction in the risk and an appreciable reduction in the risk of mortality. Matter of fact, if it was over 30 and over 40 even, the risk of dying, so if you got it, the risk of actually having a presentation that was of any significance was mitigated dramatically. And the risk of mortality went significantly down as well. Well, this new study that's going to be published in The Lancet, it's coming out of Spain, and they looked at a large group of people, and these are people who came into the hospital. They couldn't breathe, they had GI symptoms, they had all the neat stuff that comes with COVID when people get it, and they went into the hospital. Well, they were using a significant regimen of vitamin D at a very high dose for a short period of time. And as they did that as well, it was amazing because they literally are able to show when they started immediately with this course and this regimen with this high dose of vitamin D, which was reduced over the course of days, they reduced ICU admits by 82%. Listen to that number, 82%. When people came to the hospital, they could reduce the need of going to the ICU by 82%. And the risk of mortality on those same people was reduced by 64%. Oh my goodness. And the risk of side effects from vitamin D, even at those mega doses, for just a short period of time, forgive me, it was 7 to 8, 9 days, right? But it was dropping down over the course of that period of time. Essentially no risk at all, and exceedingly inexpensive and very effective. Exciting stuff. So if you aren't actually making sure that your vitamin D, if you're not sufficient, is the word we actually use at 45 or over, up to 60, 65 is really, don't want to go above 65. And doing that, make sure you're getting a vitamin D test done. If you have questions about it, you can certainly send it to me directly at askdrturlop@gmail.com. So it's Ask Dr. Turlop, DRTERLAP, Ask Dr. Turlop @gmail.com about that as well, because it's here in our office. It's a quick blood test, not even a needle. 1 drop of blood is all we need to get to the laboratory to check your vitamin D status, and then make sure the appropriate dosing recommendations, and then follow it up in 90 days. So it's very simple, very inexpensive, unbelievably effective. We're just talking about COVID. We've talked about other things in the past, but my goodness, to reduce the risk of possible infection, to reduce the risk of progression should you get it, or have mitigate the presentation severity dramatically, and then how exciting is it to see the study out of Spain that shows such effectiveness, which is probably better than anything that's being used pharmacologically at the present time. So really exciting stuff. Great study that'll be published shortly, and just wanted to bring that to you. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.